Peace. It's Tamara with Goddesses Ascending once again. Hope everybody had a prosperous and glorious and divine day. Just recently got home and am full of energy. So of course, then I'm full of energy, and I feel divine and full of bliss. I like to focus my energy on things that are going to transform me in a loving and divine way. So first, as always, have my sage burning. This is my medicine. So when I come home, my sage is one of the first things that I must grab, kind of just, cleanse myself from energies that I may have experienced today, and start anew and fresh. So Ashe, sending you sage. So the responses that I received from the lovely Science of the Mind yesterday was truly expected and yet unexpected. I got a lot of responses. Some people said that they're going to go get the book. Some said that they would love me to continue to do videos so they can receive from it. And some said that they would like to start some type of book club and, book gathering, which I think is divine and what I am definitely willing to step forward and definitely produce and achieve. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read from the Teachings of Jesus, under the title From the Teachings of Jesus, and it's going to focus on the Son of Man from John 3:14. Now don't get scared. Don't get scared. I know a lot of people, even for myself, kind of for a minute have stayed away from scriptures because of maybe their background and what they had received as far as the religion base of it. I know for me, for myself, I actually started out in a Christian environment where I was somewhat forced to go to church and sit in the synagogue and read scriptures. But now I've realized that it's more on a spiritual and cosmic level. So when we go through those experiences as far as religion and why we chose the families that we chose to get into, there was a purpose for that. Just know that the families that you came in, that gave birth to you, or your mother that you gave birth to, and the father that is within your circle, you chose them. So the experiences that you received from them were definitely for a divine purpose. And I've come to realize that. And so now scripture has definitely become a part of my journey and transformation to a higher realm. So I'm going to start out. My sage just really wants to keep going. I keep trying to put her out, but just wants to keep going. So I shall just let her do what she does. So, okay, let's begin. I'm going to start from focusing on John 3:14, the Son of Man. So hopefully y'all are ready. We're going to enter in and give thanks and praises for those who are watching. I'm definitely grateful for your presence. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so Jesus tells us must the Son of Man also be lifted up. By looking on and believing in his Son, we are saved. Jesus could not have been referred to his own personality, for he knew that this would soon be taken from the sight of humanity. We must look for a deeper meaning. Go beyond the physical. We must be lifted up, we must be lifted up, that is, we must realize our divine nature and relationship to the truth of God. This relationship is one of complete unity. The cross represents the tree of life and may also be thought of as the tree of unity. When Moses lifted up the serpent, those who looked upon it were healed. Now, this is deep, because what is the number one thing that people usually refer to the serpent in regards to? And one thing that, if you're looking at scriptures on a physical level, just think back to the times that you've listened to the pastor and what the serpent represented. It was always evil, because they know the power in the serpent. The serpent is the life. So, like I said, we got to get from the physical part of scripture and transform ourselves to be united with it in a cosmic way. So once again, it says, when Moses lifted up the serpent, those who looked upon it were healed. Many are called, but few are chosen. This understanding produced a consciousness of unity which had healing power. The life principle is either looked upon as material or spiritual. When looked upon as material, it casts us from the Garden of Eden, the garden of the soul. The Garden of Eden represents the garden of the soul. So that's what we must look upon it as. So the next part, it says, the life principle viewed only as matter is death, but viewed as life and unity, it becomes life everlasting. Moses elevated the life principle, and Jesus said the same. The Son of Man must be lifted up, even as Moses lifted up the life principle symbolized by the serpent. So we are reminded here of another symbol and used in the Old Testament, that of the serpent which cast Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. The serpent meant the outer rim of spiritual existence, the life principle viewed from an isolated and materialistic basis. The worship of material existence apart from God cast Adam and Eve from the garden and perfection. The attempt to live in effects apart from true cause always does this. The story of the fall taken literally would be ridiculous to the point of absurdity. Hence, it is necessary to look for a deeper meaning. You need me to read that again? The story of the fall taken literally would be ridiculous to the point of absurdity. Hence, it is necessary to look for a deeper meaning. The writer was trying to teach a cosmic lesson, the lesson of right and wrong. The Garden of Eden typifies life in its pure essence. Adam means man in general. Generic man. Man exists in pure life and has all of its agencies at his command. Man exists in pure life and has all its agencies in his command. This is the meaning of his being told to till the soil and enjoy the fruits of his labor. The tree of life is our real being, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil means the possibility of dual choice. That is, we can choose even that which is not for our best good. Man is warned not to eat of the fruit of this tree, for it is destructive. Eve, the woman, in the case, was made from the rib of Adam. This story suggests the dual nature of man as a psychological being. The woman is made from the man. She must have been in him, else she could not have been made out of him. And the story clearly states that she was taken from his being. Adam and Eve are potential in all of us. Adam and Eve are potential in all of us. Masculine, feminine, yin, yang. There is a balance. Embrace them both. Adam and Eve are potential in all of us. The serpent represents the life principle viewed from material basis, which beguiles us in this way. The serpent beguiled. He says that evil is as real as good, that the devil has equal power with God. That negation equals positive goodness, and that the universe is dual in its nature. From the acceptance of this argument, we experience both good and evil, and should we come full-orbed into individuality without having to learn the lesson of unity, we should live forever in a state of bondage. This is the meaning of God saying, "He shall become as one of us and live forever." The eternal mind does not wish us to live forever in bondage, and this is what would happen unless we first learn the lesson of right and wrong. And so that part of us which can be fooled eats of the fruit of dual experience, and in so doing reveals its own nakedness. The native state of man is one of purity, peace, and perfection, and it is only when we compare these with impurity, distress, and imperfection that we are revealed naked. One more time. The native state of man is one of purity, peace, and perfection, and it is only when we compare these with impurity, distress, and imperfection that we are revealed as naked. Emerson tells us that virtue does not know it is virtuous. It is only when virtue tastes of the impurities that it becomes naked and must hide from itself. The voice of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day means the introspective and meditative part of us, which in its moments of pure intuition and reason sees the illusions of life apart from God or good. Error is ever a coward before truth and cannot hide itself from reality, which sees through everything, encompasses all, and penetrates even the prison walls of the mind with its clear effulgence. The conversation between God and Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden represents the arguments that go on in our own minds when we try to realize truth. Start having that battle. When you start to realize truth, you want to try to figure it out. You want to get your mind starting to work. But the conversation between God and Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden represents the arguments that go on in our own minds when we try, keyword try, to realize the truth. These arguments are familiar to all. The expulsion from the garden, it is a necessary and logical outcome of tasting dual experience. If we believe in both good and evil, we must experience both. But lest we should become discouraged, we remember that Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, and those who looked upon it were healed. The serpent means the life principle. Viewed from a materialistic basis alone, it casts us from the perfect state. Lifted up, that is, viewed from a true meaning of unity of God, it heals. Here is the choice again, only stated in different words. The difference is not in the thing itself, but in the way we look at it. The Son of Man is every man who ever lived or ever will live. Once again, the Son of Man is every man who ever lived or ever will live. Our life is from spirit, not from matter. This viewpoint is the truth, and truth alone makes free. We come into everlasting life as we elevate this inner principle to a sense of unity of man with God. Each must lift himself to the cross of the tree of life, thus unifying himself with reality. The concept is glorious and the reward certain. The revelation of the self to the self. This is the great lesson of lessons. So that one right there was from John 3:14. That's what that expounded on. And we're going to enter into John 5:19. Which is titled, We Are Strong, When We Are Strong. I like to say we are strong, but when we are strong. So we'll just reflect on what's being said. So this is going to expound on John 5:19. The Son can do nothing of himself, which is the scripture verse. We are strong only as we are in unity with good, which is God. But the Father showeth the Son, that is, it is revealed to us through the innermost parts of our being, that there is a complete unity, a perfect wholeness. A perfect wholeness. There is complete unity. The only thing that separates ourselves is this. Which, as it said earlier, it's at your command. You decide what you want to do, just like a wave or a frequency that you see or energy field has two sides. It's still that, but you decide on which vibration you want to give it. So here it says, here is a lesson in the practical application of the science of the mind. As the subjective state of thought becomes unified with goodness and love, it automatically reflects these in whatsoever direction the thought goes, as I was just saying. So once again, as the subjective state of thought becomes unified with the goodness of love, it automatically reflects these in whatsoever direction the thought goes. The tendency of this inner thought sets the tendency of the outward life. As above, so below, as within, so without. Let us make this plain. If one is not attracting good into his life, there is something wrong with his unconscious thinking. Listen, when you're sitting back and you're wondering why you're going through all of these situations, all of these things keep coming to me. Why do I keep experiencing these things? How come it's always me? If one is not attracting good into his life, there is something wrong with his unconscious thinking. The subjective state of his thought is wrong, as the subjective state of his thought constitutes the sum total of his belief. It is his habitual attitude toward life and living. This inner thought content is the sole medium between the absolute and the relative, between causes and conditions. When this inner thought is clarified, that is, when it knows the truth, it will reinstate the outer man in peace, poise, health, and happiness. When this inner thought is clarified, being clear at your intent, being clear in your thoughts. That's why they say clear your mind. Be clear. You got to be clear in order to create, to manifest things within your life. When the inner thought is clarified, that is, when it knows the truth, it will reinstate, it will start to transform, it will start to reform itself. It will reinstate the outer man in peace, poise, health, and happiness. This inner thought becomes clarified as we unify with good. This is the inner quickening. Following this is the outer quickening, the outward sign of the inner belief. So this is deep because there has been so many times that we sit back and wonder why we experience certain things. The questions of why is my life like this? Why is this happening to me? Just I'm going through the same thing over and over and over again. It's powerful to know that when you change your thought process, your whole world, your outer world will transform because it has no choice to align whatever vibration you're vibing off of, whatever frequency you're at. And so it's important that if you want results, you're getting results, don't get me wrong. But if you want to change the results, as it says, into good results, change the good thoughts within yourself first. And that's the power and that's the magic that we also speak of. It's just clearing your mind and changing your thought process. So the next one that it's going to expound on is John 5:26, the word of power. The word of power. The word was with God and the word is God. So anyways, the word of power, John 5:26. As the Father has life, so the Son has life. There's no separation. Again, we have the teaching that there is but one life, mind, or spirit. This life is now our life and manifests through us as we believe in it. Whatever you believe, so shall you be. When our word is spoken in the consciousness of life, power, and action, then our word is life, power, and action. Did you get that? When our word is spoken in this consciousness of life, power, and action, then our word is, in caps, is life, power, and action. The word has power only as it is one with power. The word is a mold which decides what form the thought is to take as it assumes shape and becomes a part of our conditions. Mental treatment is for the purpose of forming the word into such shapes and designs as are desirable for experience. The word gives form to the unformed. The greater the consciousness behind the word, the more power it will have. Just words without conviction have no power. And just conviction without words will never stir up latent energy. There must be a combination of the two to make a complete thing. We are surrounded by a spiritual consciousness and a mental law. From combinations of these two, all things are made. We unify with the spiritual consciousness as we become aware of it. We speak it into form as we believe in the power of our own word. In treatment, there should be the first of realization of power, then the spoken word. One generates, the other distributes. I'm going to read that last paragraph again, and then I'm going to stop because I have some other things that I have to get into. But just this last paragraph is deep. So when you get this and you understand this, transformation shall present itself within your 3D world. So it says, we are surrounded by a spiritual consciousness and a mental law. From combinations of these two, all things are made. We unify with the spiritual consciousness as we become aware of it. We speak it into form as we believe in the power of our own word. In treatment, there should be first a realization of power, then a spoken word. One generates, the other distributes. So once again, this is from The Science of Mind. I just read from the teachings of Jesus from John 6:26, John 5:26, John 5:19, and also expounded on John 3:14. So like I said, for those who do not have your book, I will have your book just yet. It's definitely a great investment. I will continue to read and honor your requests. I love being here. I love being in this. I love being in truth and in love, as I know that the more that I strengthen you, the more that I strengthen myself. And there has to come a time where we truly sit back and realize that everything that we thought that mattered doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is being still, listening, humbling, detaching, and just having a clear mind with just a divine intent, and knowing that we're spiritual beings before we are any of this. This is just a vessel. So just, be still in everything that you do, and just know that all that you ever imagined, dreamed of, things that you visualize can come true, but it all starts with your thought process. And I cannot say that enough. You will hear me repeat it over and over and over again. Everything starts in a thought. Everything that you see out here, from even just sitting in your house, even in the office that you sit in, everything was created by a thought. So if you can imagine just this, and you can visualize just this, and you can create this in your cipher right now, all of that you created, you held that ball of energy and said, this is what I want to manifest within my life. This is what I want to create, what I want to actualize, what I want to generate. This is what I want. And you received it. Step it up. Really step it up, and get your mind at a high vibration, just in love, just embracing love. Love will get you anywhere you want to go. Love is the best teacher. You're already loved, so just embrace it and lift up the veil. And I truly appreciate, once again, your guys' love responses. And I will start focusing on creating maybe a time where we can maybe get on Skype. I am on Skype under Goddesses Ascending. You can find me on my website also at goddessesascending.com. I recently got that up. And then you can also check me out on my blog at goddessesascending.wordpress.com as well. And then obviously you guys know my Facebook page. So like I said, I really will probably start to do some type of getting together on the science of the mind, maybe scheduling once a week, maybe sitting down, we do chapters together, read, discuss, and, strengthen each other. So love y'all, give thanks, appreciate your love once again, sending it back, and vows. Namaste.